Welcome to the NEPA Scene podcast. This is episode 16. We're coming to you from the Stewed at 25/8 Studios in Scranton. I'm Rich Howells. I'm the founder and editor of NEPA Scene.
I'm Lauren Carolico. I am the content and commercial strategist at Lavelle Strategy Group. Why was that funny?
Because it just reminded me of like the Sweaty Balls skit from... I'm Mark.
Hi,
And
Mark.
he has
Yeah, I don't
want
want to. I don't want to. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to talk. I don't. I
Okay.
can't follow that one up.
You're all right.
I am the.
And does Jimmy want to?
Jimmy's gone, man.
Oh, Jimmy just left.
Jimmy's still working. He's still working from last week. So.
Oh, okay. So he can give a shit about us. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, Jimmy's
I'm kidding.
Jimmy's trying to give a shit about something else. So.
Okay, fair enough. So we're here with Improv comedy group. Here we are in Spain, but they're from Scranton, which is really misleading. They will be here to talk about improv and comedy, and I think they said something about AIDS in there somewhere, so we'll probably talk about that as well.
Like financial.
Right. Yeah, I don't know what you were thinking.
No, I mean with
Yeah.
Netanyahu addressing Congress yesterday. I think
Sure.
that's what they were talking about.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we had an incredible Friday night on the site with the Mid-Winter Showcase at the Woodlands. That went extremely well. I had a blast, and the thing that we did was we kind of did a mixed bill of different types of artists. We had musicians, we had poets, we had comedians, we had a magician, we had everything, and people told us, including people connected to the event, that it wasn't going to work, that it wasn't going to be successful, that we shouldn't even try. Yeah, that we shouldn't even try. And why were we doing something like this? And
So they were giving you shit from the start.
Yeah, even before, when it was still in the conceptual stage, when we were.
But this is like the Tuesday night thing that you guys do ritually.
It's the progression of that. Yeah, essentially what we did was we have an audience vote at the end of every open mic night that we do there on Tuesdays. And then when they pick the winners, then we invite the winners to do a showcase show at the end. So all the winners,
It's kind of like the grand finale,
yeah, basically. And so they all pre-sold tickets, and we actually had a lot of people at the door as well, because people they don't know if they're going to go or not, because of course the weather and things like that. But thankfully the weather held out. We didn't have snow. And the turnout was great. I mean, we were in the grand ballroom area, and we packed it. I mean, every seat was full. There were people standing in the back.
Yeah, I saw photos.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I was in the midst of literally a 48-hour work bender.
No, I know everybody here was way involved in putting together a movie called Nine Line that I'm actually very interested in seeing. But
Oh yeah.
although you already did ruin the ending for me, so.
Yeah, they meet the wizard and go back to Kansas.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't win them all.
The boat sinks.
No. Who is Kaiser Soze?
So the event went really well.
So you have this like lead up to this big event that you guys worked your asses off towards, and then.
And well, we're going to switch the open mics to Mondays going forward, because we have a brand new event that I guess I can almost announce.
No,
we're almost
do it.
We're very close. We're very close. Okay, I'm not going to
teasing. It's
all
like
right.
porn.
Yeah. We're still teasing it on the website, but we have a new event coming up in a different area on
Tuesdays.
Awesome. So I figured, okay, so we're doing this Tuesday event. Now we have to move the open mics to Mondays. And now we're probably looking at a venue change at this point. So that's unfortunate.
From the
Woodlands
venue?
Yeah, we're probably gonna change the venue to somewhere else, and I might not even host it, actually, because I might focus on hosting this on Tuesdays, and then have some of the friends that we've made at the showcase show and through the open mics, do the Monday nights or maybe Wednesday nights at a different venue to keep the open mic thing going.
So is it just not the venue. Well, I'm trying to delicately, So was it that they weren't supportive?
Yeah, you could say that. You could say that there wasn't a lot of support there. And,
I mean, the thing that people don't understand is in relationships with such as like NEPA Scene and some sort of venue that there has to be some sort of synergy.
Right.
And
well, we were putting a lot of work into it, and we were doing a lot of the heavy lifting, and we didn't see that coming from the other side, and that's unfortunate because we ended up, I think, defying a lot of people's expectations and putting together an event that I don't know if it could have been pulled off by some other local media. So I'm excited that we were able to do it, and we didn't take out any ads either. This wasn't like it was well publicized in local papers or radio or anything like that. It was all DIY. It was all social media. It was all
word of mouth,
that sort of thing. And we obviously got people to go. So.
I mean, is that disappointing to you, or is that?
Well, not. I'm looking at Friday as like it was a big win, not only for independent media but for local artists in general who have been told how many times that you need a national opener, that you're not good enough, that we need to get somebody from out of the area to come in and open for you guys to, and you guys can prop them up. Yeah,
but you guys did this all with local people. It wasn't like,
and there was no like they weren't the kind of names that like you see on posters everywhere, you see in radio ads and things like that. They're all great. They're all great performers. But generally, a lot of people were like, well, who is this guy? Who's this guy? And
but isn't that the point?
That is the point. That the whole point is to expose people to everything that's going on around here and give
and maybe some of the talent that nobody knew was out there.
Exactly. So I mean,
and you got minimum support.
Yeah, well, just from a lot of different people, and that sucks. But I mean, a lot of the people behind the scenes, the producers of the event, and the performers themselves were incredibly supportive. I mean, we kind of built like a little mini scene just in that, just those people in general, because they all come and support each other now. You see like comedians who never went to a local band show now all of a sudden are going to those shows, and vice versa.
We had a lot of your guys. A lot of the comedians come to Buddy Wakefield,
right?
Which I turned around and I'm like, I've seen photos of you,
right?
And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So but that's all because of starting that.
Right, it's all because of the open mic and NEPA scene and getting these guys out there. We had a story over the weekend on the MC Dan Hoppel, who's a really funny guy, and we're
gonna have him on, right?
Oh, definitely.
Okay,
yeah, and we have a story coming up early tomorrow morning on Sergio Marzatelli, who was also another performer there. He's actually opening for Gilbert Godfrey on Friday at the Hilton. So I
hope he's loud.
We did talk to Gilbert as well.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. So we'll have a thing on Gilbert.
Did you talk to him?
I did.
What, on the phone?
Yeah, I've actually interviewed him a couple times before.
Is it really weird to hear the voice of the parrot from Aladdin on the other side of the...
No, it's actually even weirder because you don't hear the voice from Aladdin. If he asks you, the first thing that he asks you is, he says, is this going to go, this interview, is it going to go online? Or, I said, and, if it's just for my notes, I said, well, no, I'm just going to listen to it back and type it out. And so he'll go, okay. And then he just talks normally. He's just an old Jewish man. And that's it. He doesn't do the voice and the shtick and everything like that. He just does his normal voice. But if he knows it's going to be online and stuff, he does the whole thing. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. So he completely sounds normal.
So he turns it off.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he's still just
weird.
as funny, like he's very quick and the one-liners and everything like that, and he's very self-deprecating. He's exactly the same person, but he turns it up a notch when he's on television.
So like at the beginning, is he the voice of the Aladdin, and then when you're like, no, I'm just gonna write it, and he's like, oh, all right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he's a super cool guy though, and very, very funny.
Well, I'm happy your event went well, and it's shitty that,
yeah,
they do they do, and they did what they did. But
well, yeah, I mean, certain people I think have a certain reputation in the area for not working well with artists, and it sucks because there could be so much more done there. But if that's going to be the case, then we got to move on and do something else. So really, what I'm looking forward to is the event that we're going to announce. I think it's going to be big, even bigger than the one we have been doing.
Oh, me too. And I don't think you fell off the horse, man. I think you just changed horses.
Well, that's how I'm looking at it, because it wasn't just one side or the other. It was kind of a mutual decision. So,
well, good for you. All right, I'm done. So I'm done verbally filleting you. So
okay,
what's next?
All right. Well, let's I don't know. Let's verbally fillet these gentlemen who have come on our show. I mean,
guys, I brought chapstick. So
all right, we're good.
Whatever you need.
So these guys are here. We are in Spain. Let's go around and you can all introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Brit.
That was so fast. Are you sober? Look at John Maier won't give you the microphone back, even just to have a conversation with me. He's like, "You're done." You had 2 words, and that's all he's given you.
Brit's last name is Giblin. I'm Don McGlynn.
Rob Klubeck.
I'm Jonathan Maier.
I'm Patrick Martin.
Well, you guys are very eloquent when you say.
Oh, I know. I know there's a lot of ladies listening, so this isn't even my real voice.
Oh, you're like Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah.
It's actually much sexier, but he's turning it down.
Yeah.
I don't want them all calling me.
I just want to mention too, Baxter Pancake is also in our group. He's just not here tonight. He has a life apparently. So,
is that a real name?
You'd have to ask him about that. That's what he goes by. You'd have to ask him about that.
Baxter Pancake.
Baxter Pancake. Yep.
Like IHOP.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just checking, man. I don't give people shit. I'm just curious on like I'm usually the guy going like, and that's on your birth certificate, and they're like, yeah, and I'm like, all right, well, whatever.
Baxter.
I think he changed it.
Wait, you're
my
focused
name.
on Baxter?
Yeah, I like that.
So, they're both unusual. Yeah,
I'm focused on Pancake.
It's a family name. Don't give him shit.
It goes. I'm all right.
Culturally ignorant.
From the Eastern European 13th century pancakes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So tell us about yourselves. How long have you guys been doing this?
What do you do?
well, we're an improv comedy group, which means when you come to our show, we just make up everything we do and try to make you laugh. That's all it means.
So you're lazy.
We're really extremely lazy.
Yeah, very
In fact,
lazy.
Baxter doesn't have a life. He's just taking a nap.
So I'm playing Destiny.
So it's just like whose line is it anyway? Basically, the audience yells out suggestions, and we just do scenes based on those suggestions. We've been together since 2007, but Rob and John are the fairly new people in the group. Yeah.
I came in about 2010, I think. Yeah. So, not came like I came before that, like masturbating, but
At home.
But yeah, well,
Not like a package.
but like not like. But I mean, I came into the group in 2010.
Everyone-
I'm really
Everyone
glad you
had
didn't wait
umbrellas.
that long.
Yeah.
But
If we're going dirty, let's go dirty quick.
yeah, why not? But I also did want to mention, in addition to the short form improv, which is like whose line is it anyway? Like Pat was talking about, we do that, but then we also do long form as well, which is like stuff similar to stuff you would see at like Upright Citizens Brigade, stuff like that in New York or Chicago. So we do both. We do a nice mix of both. But yeah, that's it. Somebody else could talk.
Tell me more about masturbating.
Masturbating is when a
Mark.
man.
Mark.
It's when a man.
Just a man?
Well, or a woman, but a man or I don't really know much about the woman side of it. It's when a man turns 13. It's when a man turns 13 and his friends sleep over his house and they're like, "Oh, did you ever jerk off before?" And you're like, "No." And they're like, "Oh, yeah, I tried it. it, and he's like, so you and your friends sit there and you jerk off, and like you're worried that you can't, you think you're not old enough to come, but then but then you put on country music television and you do it with two hands like your friend told you to, and then it feels like your dick's gonna explode, and your Notre Dame boxer shorts have jizz all over them, and it's awesome, and you haven't stopped since. I mean, that's just what. That's what I've heard.
This is when the two women in the audience have turned off.
Ladies, don't go.
They actually canceled their subscription to country music television.
That was specific. Country music television was specific.
Rob
did that
loves
really
Toby
happen?
Keith.
It's okay though, because I don't have like HIV or anything. Like it was clean cum. Like I mean, not me. I mean, the person in the story is HIV free, which nothing wrong with having HIV. My heart goes out to I'm glad the treatment's gotten better for people, and I wish them the best. I do like to joke about AIDS, but it's a very serious topic. I know anyone who actually has it, it's not funny, but I do like to joke about it. Again, no disrespect to them, because I will be joking about it later.
How early are we into the interview? Like, how long have we been going on?
17 minutes and 6 seconds.
Yeah, this is like the
And don't
opening.
you feel like you know him? Don't you?
Was that improv?
I feel like we bonded.
No, that was real.
That's just him. That's just him talking.
That's the
Very
thing about
real.
this whole group. None of it is made up. All of it's fucking true.
That's pretty true. That's
Yeah.
pretty accurate. Actually,
Did you get a new pair of Notre Dame boxer shorts, or?
I just washed them. And the funny thing is, I don't even like Notre Dame. I had all different. Again, the character in the story didn't even like Notre Dame. He had all different He had like a bunch of different teams. He just happened to be wearing those that night. But no, you just wash them. I imagine.
That is not what happened.
Sir, you absolutely terrify me.
If I had a nickel for every time a woman said that to Rob,
You'd have a shitload of nickels.
oh
Yeah.
my God, I'd have at least $3. At least. But all that really happened to that character in the story is he changed his teams to Florida State and Duke. That's all.
No, that character liked Florida State and Duke at that time. He just
Yeah.
had a wide variety of boxer shorts.
If that character liked Florida State, he'd have no reason to masturbate.
They were good that year. They won the national title.
Oh, that's
All right,
true.
so now
Charlie Ward.
the
is
year
hot.
was
1994.
good
Or
for
no,
you.
but it was the 1993 season. They had just won it the month before. They'd beaten Nebraska in the Orange Bowl.
That's when I was a huge Florida State fan.
Me, you, and the character in the story are all Florida State fans. I still am a Florida State fan, although I'm a little embarrassed about saying I am now with all the how badly they handled that whole Jameis Winston thing. That was awful. The administration and the police department, they should be ashamed of themselves. But anyway, I'm not
After you just got done talking about masturbating, you're going to make a social statement.
Yeah, I mean, masturbating. There's nothing wrong with masturbating, but I mean, rape is rape is terrible. Masturbating's fine. It's masturbating in the privacy of your own home is a victimless crime unless you do it too hard and you chafe.
Or you lose your
I think I've
eyesight.
talked enough for the next 10 minutes. Somebody else talk.
Just 10. You've soiled the sanctity of this room, sir.
So what we're here to ask is that people pay $7 to hear this bullshit for 2 hours. If anyone's out there willing.
Has anyone ever come in and think, "Oh, I've seen the TV show. These guys are going to be really family friendly, and this is going to be great." And they're
yes.
going to come in thinking that it's
I
something
think
that's
we have to
cleared
stop
for-
using that word.
But yeah,
Which family friendly?
we do first night almost every year for Scranton, and that has to be family
That's for New-
friendly.
that's for
So
New
we
Year's,
know
right?
The New
Yeah.
Year's first night. But there have been shows that one in particular that I'm thinking of, we did a show and we actually had people ask for money back.
For the record, that was before I was in the group.
And it was. Also, for the
That is true. That's
record,
before he was in the group.
the reasons they asked for the money back is because we made up and did a whole scene about a fake STD.
What was it called?
Rag dick. It's where your dick turns into rags.
Plural.
Right. There's several rags.
So, I mean, so wait. So, this is before 2010 that this bad show happened?
Actually, Rob was at the show as an audience member, but are you sure? But
I'm sure I wasn't at that one.
well, I thought he was.
I was at a couple of those shows.
He was home masturbating, and we were at the show.
I was at a couple of those shows at the Old Vintage, but I'm pretty sure I wasn't at that one. But I did hear about it afterwards and thought it was hilarious.
I mean, what happens when you guys are on stage and you see like the audience just go like, oh shit.
Well, funny enough,
to you it must be hysterical.
It is. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's an amazing experience.
Like you want more people to walk out as possible, and you feel like you're doing well.
As long as they pay.
It's like as long as they don't ask for their money back. Yeah.
We just did first night, and we were doing we were lion tamers suggested by the audience. The audience was only about 6 people, and 5 of them.
So the group was bigger than
5 of them. Yeah, 5 of them were a family. 1 was a girl I knew from work. And
There's a couple in the back.
There was a couple in the back, and then we mentioned the fact that the lion in the fake scene, we didn't have a real lion; it was all fake. We mentioned the fact that the lion might be gay, and the family just went, and all stood up at once and walked out.
They didn't even look at each other.
No,
they
they
did
didn't.
it like at the same time. They all got up.
I will tell you one thing, Steven. If they mention a gay lion, all of us are getting on that horse.
Oh, that goes
buggy.
without saying. That goes without saying.
We're gonna go see Damien. He doesn't talk about gay creatures.
It really doesn't happen. Not that I've noticed. Maybe I'm just not noticing. Stuff like that doesn't happen that often though. We usually don't. We're usually not. Our audience is usually pretty accepting of what we put out there. They're not usually like every once in a while they get something like that, but they're usually pretty good. And like I said, like Pat said, we can be family friendly if need be. I would prefer not to. Not that you necessarily need to go to that place, but it's nice to know that you can if the scene warrants it. You want to be organic to the scene and everything. You don't want to just do it gratuitously. Try not to do that. Although sometimes you can slip into that, but you want to be, if the scene warrants something that is, maybe dirty or where you need to curse or whatever, you want to be able to do that instead of, limiting yourself. So for me, that's the reason I prefer not being limited to being family friendly, but we can be family friendly if any families out there want to book us.
Well, I mean, isn't it like along the lines, like if you took all the fucks out of Goodfellas, would it still be a good movie?
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. I mean,
I don't know if it would still be a good movie.
It's more along the lines of Ishtar. But
I still enjoy Goodfellas on cable. I mean, it's preferable to have the fucks in, but you can still enjoy it. I think that's a pretty good analogy because I think it's I enjoy doing it more if we're not censored, but you can still have fun and still be good with those limitations. And sometimes that could even challenge you to be more creative, really, to go a different way. Because sometimes you can. We all can drop into the place where you lean too much on that. So in a way, it can be good, but I still prefer not to be limited.
I can tell because you led with masturbation and AIDS.
Remember 10 minutes ago when he goes, all right, I'm done talking for 10 minutes?
Yeah.
I'm just reminding everybody that happened.
I'm not like easily offended by anything. So,
but now he's appalled.
No, but I'm appalled. Yeah. But I always find it
Big Notre Dame
interesting
fan.
to find what people are offended by. Like, what's the thing that they can't cross? Like, okay, I'm okay with murder. I'm okay with jokes about this. I'm okay with jokes about that. But no, gay lion. That's it. No, gotta walk.
Yeah.
That's always interested me.
To be fair, animals in homosexuality, they aren't really about that. It's more about the dominance. Even imaginary animals.
So you're siding with the family that left?
No, I'm siding with your imaginary animal.
Oh.
Now I have read articles where it says there has been homosexual behavior observed
A
in
lot.
many species, which is a good way to shut up people who are like, oh, being gay is not natural. It's like, well, it clearly is because animals do it too. It's like, there's no
Homosexual
Actually,
behavior is prevalent in the animal
No,
kingdom.
who was I talking to or listening to? I think it was oh God, for the life of me, I can't remember. But when a species tends to overpopulate itself, the gay tendencies of whatever species it is comes out, so that you can reduce the population, and it's a natural thing that happens.
Makes sense biologically. Yeah.
Where the hell did I read that?
It probably had to do with that penguin in the zoo.
What penguin?
The gay penguin.
There's a gay penguin?
They're calling it that, but he's not gay.
Oh, they made fun of that on Parks and
confused?
Rec.
What is he?
Dominant. Is that it? He's just really asserting his dominance.
No.
He's not really-
No, he just really doesn't know. He's very confused.
And that's okay. We're not
Which is
here
fine.
to judge penguins.
But wait,
We're not here to point out that,
where's there a gay penguin?
I think either
There was
Australia
one
or-
in like I think it might have
Is
been in
there
the
a
zoo
video?
because they did a Parks and Recreation episode of it a few years ago where Leslie married two
That's
gay
right.
penguins.
And then
I think
everybody
that
was in an
based
uproar.
on something. Yeah, I think it was based on a real thing.
But recently, the gay penguin's partner died.
And he was sad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Well,
be
maybe he wasn't
honest.
gay. He just lost his best friend.
They were best friends. Penguins
are
mate
the
for life.
neatest dressers of all the animals.
Oh,
Right.
sure. Everything's
So
an
it just
occasion.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
A black and white, very modern look.
I think it's sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I lived
so-
on an iceberg,
Penguins
and
are
there was
very
only another
cute.
dude.
Penguins
I mean,
are
if you
very
think
cute.
about it, though, it's not a really good defense mechanism to have all that white and then you're black and white.
Penguins actually have a really gross defense mechanism. Do you want to know what that is?
I do.
You can use this for a bit.
Actually, you
So-
probably could. I know this because I was an animal keeper for a day at SeaWorld once.
One day,
And when I,
I threw a fish into
when
a
I-
dolphin's mouth.
when I went in to do the penguins booth, I had to be covered head to toe in protective gear because I was told if I scared a penguin or a penguin became threatened by my presence because they don't know me, they would shoot projectile feces at me, probably directly at my eyes, up to 5 feet.
that's Brit's defense mechanism.
I'm not going to deny that.
That's the real reason those people left first night.
Oh, he's working up a poop. He's working up a poop.
I really don't like you guys.
So go with that. I hope you can use that.
I'm just astonished how much penguin talk there's been.
Well, how the hell did we get? Was it the?
It was the dominant theory.
Oh, the gay penguin.
Overpopulation theory. But doesn't after the overpopulation that caused gayness also cause them to eat themselves? So
Like
are we-
cannibalism?
Like
Yeah.
Soylent?
I think. Well, not without the mass production. No, I don't think they have an assembly line to do that, like penguins. And did you ever hear Benedict Cumberbatch screw up saying penguins?
Penguins.
Say penguins. It was in a documentary. He said it 4 times. Nobody ever corrected him. It's online. Just thought you should know. So tell me about your projectile feces.
It only happens every once in a while. And I get really
Like, how nervous do you have to be?
Extremely nervous. Like I had to be shaking and sweating a little bit. And
Like panic attack.
Major panic attack. Give me a paper bag. I'm fine. But if I don't have my paper bag handy, it's
And you just turn around and
oh yeah.
You're like,
the
it's-
audience had no idea what hit them.
So
and then
what,
they look at you and they're like, "Why the fuck did you do that?" And you're just like, "I want them to leave."
Yeah.
By the way,
I want to go drinking.
the weirdest part of this defense mechanism, apparently I'm Benedict Cumberbatch, defense mechanism, is that Brit is the only one here with a girlfriend.
That is true.
None of us shit on anybody. Brit does.
While I do not shit at anybody, that's not true. That Brit is the only one with a girlfriend.
That's right. John does have a lady.
Oh, right. John's dating Brit's girlfriend. I forgot.
So technically, Brit is the only one with a girlfriend.
Right.
That's news to
Right.
me, but all right.
so what brought you guys to improv comedy?
Shitting penguins.
Originally a Chevy Cavalier.
My mom dropped me off.
This looks like a good corner to leave you.
We all got started the same way, kind of. I mean, I think we all had an interest in it before, but back in about 2005, 2006, Chris Barnes, who was born in Scranton and then left, he went to Second City, did Chicago.
He's doing like jazz
New
and
York.
blues now, isn't
Yeah,
he?
he actually owns a gay bar in New York. Now.
Lots of penguins there.
A ton of them.
Yeah.
The name of the bar is called Flaming Saddles.
And free plug.
I don't know if that's a joke, is it?
No, it's
that's
Okay.
New York
real
City's
name.
only gay cowboy dancing bar.
Where is it?
Astonishingly enough, it's the only
Weird.
one in New York.
I would have.
Wait, can I
thought
tell?
there
Wait, where
just-
is it?
It's Flaming Saddles.
Flaming Saddles.
On a weird like side note, I used to live in LA, and West Hollywood is like, you know, the gay mecca of Los Angeles. And my one friend goes to me. She said, "I have to go meet some friends at this bar in WeHo," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'll go because I'm drinking and you're not, and you're driving, so I'm game." So we go and we walk in, and totally didn't dawn on me that like, hey, we're going to, you know, the gayest part of Los Angeles of 10 million people, and we park and we walk in this bar, and it's really dark. And up on, did you ever see The Naked Cowboy?
Yeah.
From in New York City, he's always at like Times Square with the guitar, and he's in his like his briefs. So there's a really like well built man up on stage dancing, and then next to him is like this very beautiful girl dancing, and they're like the entertainment while all these people. And then it was like that Jason Lee moment in Chasing Amy, where he's like, "Oh, all right." So I was so drunk that I decided I wanted to know what it felt like to be a woman for a night. So this, I swear to God, this is totally true. There was like a farmer convention in town. So everybody there was a gay farmer. This is no bullshit. So it was a gay farmer, and this guy comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, can I buy you a drink?" And I was like, "What? Yes, you can." So I hung with him all night. He was buying me drinks. I got liquored up for next to nothing. And then at the end of the night, he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm going home. I'll see you later." So I totally felt like a lady at the bar.
Oh my God.
How I've gotten treated for a decade. I got to do it at the gay bar in West Hollywood.
Did you go home and like cook a meal for your man?
No, I
Get real pregnant and barefoot?
I went home feeling like I finally know what it's like to be a woman.
That sounds like a terrible image of a woman.
Not the women. See, but I was hanging out with a different crowd. Like I had a totally different mindset where it's like, you know, I'd be the guy at the bar buying girls drinks, and they'd be like, "Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you." And at the end of the night, they're like, "Who are you?" And they'd leave. So I got an opportunity. It was my vengeance. I got revenge on this poor gay cowboy that I feel horrible that I did it to, but I still got like Jaeger bombs and Jack Daniels and all of that. So I feel good about it. I know you're going to judge me and you're going to hate me for it, but that's for all the women that ever did that to me. So why are you so mad at me about this?
So that's how Marky got into improv. Now, how did you guys get into
Oh,
improv?
sorry. I stole that. I totally stole that, and I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I just never got to tell my gay cowboy story. So
Well, Chris Barnes left Scranton, and he pursued a career, and he actually did quite well. He was on a sitcom called,
what was it, Linda Hunt or
No, Bonnie
Hunt. Bonnie Hunt. Linda Hunt's Terminators.
with, and then he was on several other things. He was on Seinfeld once. He was just recently on 30 Rock not too long ago. But he came back to Scranton for a while, and he opened an improv school where he would teach you, and then on Fridays he would have a show every Friday. So we all joined there separately. We didn't know each other before that, and then that kind of ran its course. He went to New York, and we just decided to stick it out and keep doing it because we liked it so much, and kind of just evolved into this.
I was just going to wonder if I should say anything again. I'm going to shut up.
Oh, I thought you were going to continue. I thought there was more to the story. Okay, no, that's fine.
No, I'm just going to shake my head. I'm just going
If
to
you don't want to share.
I think there
That's
is
fine.
more to the story.
I'm not going to talk. I'm just going to shake my head. Hopefully you can hear it.
So since then, you guys have performed all over the area.
Oh yeah, we a ton of shows. We did the University of Scranton a bunch of times. We do the AfA Gallery.
Did
Vintage
that go over
Theater.
well with the Jesuits?
Yeah, we have had no complaints there. But we did outside the area too. We all did. We were all at a Mount Airy Casino, and
That was the one
when
with
we were
Chris.
with Chris
Yeah,
Barnes.
still doing
and,
with Chris.
we've done several Del Close marathons, which is a marathon of improv in New York City for 48 hours. They do improv.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like you have to be on your toes.
How many hours did you guys go
Oh,
for?
We did 30 minutes.
No, we just did one.
Yeah.
There we
The
go.
event goes on for 48 hours. Yeah.
Our shows
It's
only
like Mr.
feel
Smith
like
goes to
2 days.
Washington. You're just like, holy shit.
Yeah, that's at Upright Citizens Brigade. So we got to perform.
Yeah,
at the,
it's like
UCB
4 or 5
theater.
different theaters around New York, and it's just a whole, just 48 hours nonstop. But a lot of acts come in that you know, people you would know, Amy Poehler and just different people from 30 Rock were there, and then
But then there's a lot of people like, you know, that you don't know that are just, they're people from all over the country.
Right.
You apply for it. We haven't done it since 2010 was the last one we did. I actually joined the group in late 2009 then, because I joined the year before that. So let's correct that from before, late 2009. But
early 2010.
Yeah, 2010.
Strike that
was
from the
last-
record.
Yeah, PolitiFact.
Actually, Rob's first show with us was a first night show, I think.
I think that was one of my first shows. Yeah.
So
2010 was the last time we did the Del Close. That was the only time I did it with them, and that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. That was cool. Yeah.
Why don't you guys go back? Why don't you guys go back? Why don't you do it again?
I don't know. Actually,
We bomb every time we go. It wasn't complicated. We've never done well there. I don't know why we never went back there.
In fairness, the last show we did was at like 10 in the morning with like 7 people in the audience. So that was tough.
well, for me,
Is it really bombing, or is it just like people are tired?
it was.
that too.
It wasn't terrible. I think it went as badly as you guys did. We weren't great. We weren't terrible. We've actually gotten a lot better since then, to tell you the truth, at long form. That was like 5 years ago. So I think we would do a lot better now. For me, part of the reason I don't want to do it again is because I ended up getting a hotel and staying there for 2 days, and it costs like hundreds of dollars, and I don't have that kind of money.
Hookers and blow really take a
So
hit at the credit
there's
card.
not a lot of money in improv?
No. There's a ton of money in improv. We just don't tell Rob we make it.
Oh, okay.
We're making,
Yeah, we made about 30,000. We're keeping it from Rob.
and to bring it back to masturbation, we're making it hand over fist. You're welcome.
I'm not allowed to ask questions, so
You can
I
ask any question.
Ask what you want. Go ahead.
No, I get really nervous now because then I can feel you guys like looking at me.
No, I'm totally
You're
not
like,
looking at you.
You didn't have to say the gay cowboy thing.
No, I actually really enjoyed that story. I was hoping there was more to it than that.
I know there's more to it than that.
What, like an ice pack and some Midol? Like,
Yeah. I mean, you know.
Pair of assless chaps.
Yeah, right.
and I don't know why I had them before I went. They were somehow in my wardrobe. No, like what made you guys like get into this? It sounds like, you know, it's almost like it's a weird thing where it's like it's almost like a thankless job, and you kind of put yourselves out there to get, you know, criticized or praised or whatever, and it's just got to be really hard, you know, to know your audience and to know what you got to do. So what was it like kind of like the first time you did it, and then what was the thing that like kept you around?
Well,
Was that a good question?
yeah, it
All right, I'm just
it definitely was tougher the first couple times. You get real nervous before you go on stage and stuff. But the nice part was that we did it in that Chris Barnes school, where it kind of everybody was at the same level, and you knew the audience was there to see us. So then it was a lot easier in that respect. But when we decided to branch out of that, it became a little tougher because as you know, with this open mic thing that you were doing at the Woodlands, just the advertising, getting people in the door is like the toughest part. But we've actually been doing a show at the AfA Gallery now we're going on 3 years there. Every second Saturday of every month, we do a show, and I think it's kind of gaining momentum now that we're in our 3rd year. We tend to get more audience members. We're getting 40 or 50 as opposed to, I mean, when we first started, we were getting
3 or 4.
Yeah. Well, when you first start, everybody wants to come see you because it's new and your friends will all come. So you get a big crowd right away and you're real excited. And then the next month you get like 7 people. But it's a gain of momentum. The nice part is every show at the AfA now, I think everyone else has been seeing faces we've never seen before, and people coming who I've never seen at a show before. So Rob coming
He comes to every show.
almost every show. Rob.
That's his break a leg right before he goes out there.
Yeah.
He's usually late coming to the shows, but that's another story.
That's
Better
usually
late than
why people
early.
are late due to coming. That's why people are late.
You totally just went. I'm not gonna touch that. I'm not gonna touch the microphone.
No, I was gonna make a joke, but the moment had passed. So that's improv training. You react to what was just said, and even if you have something in your head, if something else is said after that, you
can't go back to
the
it.
thing from a couple beats ago, you got to drop it and react to the new thing. So that's improv training, basically.
Thanks for the education.
Penguins.
Do you want to learn how to masturbate too?
I got 10
There's
penguins.
down. There's this. There's that.
I don't know. I can get my fictional character to explain it to you.
Plug your JOI videos.
Yeah, that was interesting.
What's JOI?
Okay.
I kind of
so
forget.
I was watching,
Oh,
I
that
was
was him.
watching
Okay.
porn the one day. This is a real story. I was watching porn the one day, and
The one day.
this just happened one day. I watch porn almost every day. But
Prozac is too expensive.
day after I gave up porn, I started watching it. I started watching it, and then I don't know how. I'm assuming men are listening to this because I can't think of a lady who would listen to this other than the one who has to, who's sitting between two guys on the couch. When you watch a porn movie on certain sites, it gives you the 10 recommendations.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is the funniest. The staff picks or whatever the hell they are. Jimmy from sales recommends. It was just a weird thing. But the one day I was watching, and one of the movies they suggested was it said something like cowgirl, and in all capital letters it said JOI, and I was like, the hell is JOI? So I clicked on it. It stands for jerk off instructions. It's literally a cowgirl on a couch telling you how to masturbate. All right, take your jeans off. All
Wait,
right.
it's like stereo instructions for how to.
Yeah, and she literally shows nothing except she's dressed like a cowgirl. No, not even a dildo, and this isn't going to be good for the podcast, but it's just literally a girl just sitting on a couch going like this. I've known this since I'm 11.
Nobody had to teach me.
The one thing I don't need instructions on.
I like that it was recommended too. I mean, who recommends that?
Steve from accounting.
It's like, oh, I bet nobody knows how to do this. It's probably this real repressed guy whose parents never taught him anything, and he just figured it out 4 months ago. He's like, oh my God, this saved my life.
Who taught you how to do that?
I mean, I've lost my
Cowgirl
job.
on YouTube.
And that could probably be on YouTube because there's nothing nasty about it.
I'm sure they exist everywhere. And if I get around to watching porn again, anytime,
One day.
one day, I'm just gonna type that in the search bar just to see how. I'm sure they exist in every black girl with hickey. JOI, like weird.
Oh, you know what Pat likes?
Failed Florida State quarterback. JOI.
Grimace from McDonald's. JOI.
Hamburglar, real quiet, but he shows you.
So you guys have a whole series of these coming out, I bet.
Oh, yeah. Here we are in Spain, jerk off instructions. As told by the experts. Again, we have no girlfriends. So if anyone's listening,
I think half the group is in a relationship.
I'm pretty sure I have it on good authority that John is not really in a relationship.
Oh, okay.
Did any of you guys, when you were kids and before you learned how to jerk off, did any of you think you did it without a boner? And then when you found out you had to have a boner, you're like, oh, that's weird. That would be hard, hurt. Because that's what I thought. But that's not true. That's wrong.
That's what the character in that story thought.
I'm talking when I'm like 11, not like when I'm like 24. This is what I was like 10 or 11 is what I thought.
Yeah, this is 1992, not 1994.
Yeah. This is when Florida State only lost one game to Miami, but and they could have gotten to the title if they could have gotten to the title game if Alabama had lost to Florida in the inaugural SEC title game, but they did not. So they would have had a rematch with Miami, but that's neither here nor there. God, but we need to fill 2 hours.
Your brain's like a pinball machine of fucking nuts.
I have
That's
real
why he's
bad.
in the group.
I have real bad anxiety. I'm really high strung. I have real bad anxiety. Like I have pretty severe OCD and like pretty bad anxiety, and it just sometimes when it all comes out. Oh, I took Prozac for 19 years.
That doesn't help.
I ended up changing
Pornhub
it.
helps.
I ended up what's that?
Pornhub.
Check out Steve's recommendations on Pornhub.
I ended up changing it. I'm taking the Lexapro now. So
It's not good.
Hopefully, I tried Luvox and that didn't really help. So I'm trying Lexapro
Luvox
now.
is awful. I
Yeah.
tried all that shit. It's
Yeah.
all awful.
Yeah, Luvox. It did not work for my. The Lexapro.
I went up to. You know what? I went up to. Who was I going? I don't want to name names, but he's a big local. Like if that's where you're gonna go, that's where you're gonna
It's
go.
probably same guy. Probably yeah.
B.
Yeah.
When you're like treated like a Model T in the 1920s up there. Like,
That's the
bullshit.
best way to put it.
That's
yeah.
fucking bullshit. I'm sorry. Can I go off on mental health real quick?
Sure.
Because I'm so pissed off at it. So like everybody I know is like, oh, did you go up to the assembly line too? Like, oh yeah, I went up there. So I have real bad panic and anxiety too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I need something. And they're like, well, we'll give you this thing and in like 6 weeks it'll work. And I'm like, no. I want it now because that's why I was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to drink. So I wasn't like, I'm going to die. So that's what I did. And then I go up there and I finally get a meeting with said person after like 9 months.
I talked to a guy that just not to cut you off, but I was talking to someone else about this, and he goes there, and I'm like, well, did you ever get to see this person? And he's like, no, I've never seen him. And I'm like, that's weird.
No, he's like District 13 in the fucking Hunger Games. Like you don't know, like, oh, there it is. Did you get a meeting yet?
I've seen him because I've been going. I saw him before he expanded. I've been seeing him since I was 14.
Have you seen him in like the last year and a half?
I did because I told him I was doing bad. So yes,
Did you get into the office?
I did. Yeah.
Did you see all the pigs?
Yes.
Did that?
Real pigs?
Dude, okay. I never signed a fucking NDA with any of these people, so I can just disclose all this information and not fucking feel bad about it and not use names. But you walk in to like whom is supposed to be like the fucking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of fucking mental health, and you walk in there and there's I'm not shitting you, I'm not exaggerating, there's 400 figurines of varied fucking disciplines and structure and everything of pigs. Like the Furby pig, the pig that you got at the McDonald's drive-thru with the kids menu. Like there has to be like 400. And you finally sit down to have this meeting where we're supposed to be like, how you feeling? And you're like, I could not feel more fucking uncomfortable in a room. It's like one of those rooms that you see like when they get the guy on SVU. That's the way the fucking room feels like. So I'm so pissed off at everything up there because
I don't like the way it's set up. How they, like you said, the assembly line. That's a really good way of putting it. That being said, I think when you do get to see him, I think he does know the medicines really well, and I do trust him in that sense. And when I see him,
you're a fucking
good.
Doctor. Pick a different room. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you walk, like they said, here, go sit in this room. I sat in the room and I looked around and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
It is strange. It didn't bother me personally, but it is strange.
How?
You heard? I'm nuts. That didn't bother me, but I do. Yes, it is weird.
No, he came in and sat down and I went, got a lot of pigs here. I don't know what the fuck else to say. How you doing? I'm like, I just want to get out of this room as soon as possible. So what do I got to do?
That is
What was his
probably the
response?
closest medical experience to a Here We Are in Spain show. Just a really uncomfortable room with like a couple pigs floating around.
But there was no resolution to like I've been going to see people since I was 14 years old. Whether or not I'm fucking crazy or not is still like it's still to be determined. like because I get so pissed off and I'm just like I'm done with everything. But that guy, dude, and wait, here's the best part. So, do you watch John Oliver?
Once in a while, not
All
not
right.
that often.
John Oliver did this thing about. Did you see it when he was doing about doctors?
Yeah.
About the okay. So there's a website.
Really good.
There's a website that you can go to see how much your physician has made outside of the realm of being a doctor, i.e., like public speaking, like how much the pharmaceutical companies pay these people to do shit. And this is in the last 5 months, he's made like $38,000 outside of what the medical profession. Yeah, these are pharmaceutical reps paying him money.
They proved a lot of it too. Like they'll say, "Oh, was for a speaking engagement that he never actually did." You know, like things like that. It's like they're paying them off essentially to, just keep using our drugs and keep giving these drugs to people whether they work for them or not.
Oh, absolutely. And I've asked other people, I'm like, are there other places to go? And they've got like the monopoly on mental health in this area, which really pisses me off. So that's just my
And if you're
weird fucking Pink Floyd version of like what happened.
And the thing is, if you're looking to do like talk therapy there, that's not. Now I know they do have therapists there too, which I've never seen. So maybe
my therapist there was awesome.
Yeah, maybe they do it, but I know if you're going to him for talk therapy, that's not really what he does. He pretty much does the medicines and stuff. Which I will say, I think he knows what he's doing with the medicine, so I trust him in that regard. But and the lady that I see regularly, I like her too. So I mean, it's not
like all the practitioners and stuff like that.
They're good. Yeah,
they're sweet people. Like at the end of the day, like
but you should be you're going there to see a doctor. You should be seeing a doctor.
The dark side of the moon room with the fucking aquarium. There's like, and then like right behind you on the back left, so subtly is like the cheapest Walmart aquarium that you could ever hear, and it's like so in front of me is like hundreds of pigs and no two are the same. And then to my back left is an aquarium that they got at like Ollie's. And I don't even think there's fish in it.
Are there pigs in the aquarium too?
I didn't even look. I walked into the room and it was seriously like, this is my nightmare. Like people, like, do you know like people who like hate clowns? Like people are like deathly afraid of fucking clowns. I never knew I was afraid of pigs until I walked into that room.
There's probably like a real pig in the back there just like, kill me.
No, like
me.
I would like it wouldn't have fucking surprised me if like a 6 foot tall dude in a Piggly Wiggly outfit just like just
Like the
even
gimp in
acknowledge
Pulp
me and just,
Fiction, like they just pull him out,
right?
and he's
Like
got
the
this
gimp,
big outfit on,
like the gimp. Like if I'm sitting there and then like the fucking Piggly Wiggly guy doesn't even acknowledge me and just walks out of the closet, out the door, down the hall, and I'm like, did you see that? And he'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like that's how I think. Like there's an environment of insanity created. And look, this is just my opinion. This is not everyone else's. That's the feeling I got because when I got out of there, people are like, because I was like, oh, I'm finally getting to see the Great and Powerful Oz.
Yeah.
And they were like, how was it? And I'm like, it was horrible. It was horrifying.
See, that aspect of it didn't bother me, like the pigs and stuff. But I do agree with you about the assembly line way of it. That's a criticism I've heard. I heard other people. Was it other people? Or maybe I just thought it. But
either way, it happened.
That's legit. That's definitely legitimate criticism. I agree with you on that. I mean, whatever.
So what's the current climate in terms of comedy and improv in the region?
Right here, right now.
That was a good segue.
yeah.
Somebody else talk for a while.
I think you're on a
I
roll.
waited for a pause. That was what was happening.
I'm sorry. I'm just so angry about it.
No. That was
You mentioned Ollie's, by the way, and I have a weird Ollie's story.
Let's go. Don't be
I'm just
scared.
gonna tell you, and then I'll tell you about the climate. We'll tell you about the climate of comedy. It's about 37, but it's balmy. I was at Ollie's one time, and every like 3 minutes in Ollie's, I'm imagining everybody has been to Ollie's.
I've been there
every
twice.
3 minutes they play their little jingle, and it's like, and the guy says, "Ollie's, good stuff, cheap." Right? You know that thing? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Over the intercom. And I was walking through, and there's this guy in front of me, and every time that guy would say the jingle, the guy would go, "Jesus Christ!" Every time. He was alone. He wasn't trying to entertain anyone.
I mean, was he keeping a small volume, or was he like,
Oh, no, he was loud.
Jesus Christ?
He was louder than when they're like, "Good stuff, cheap." And he'd say it louder. Jesus Christ! Every time. I followed him around the store for 10 minutes. Every time.
They designed it
So you got
you
at
have
least
to
3 or
go.
4
It was
Jesus
so
Christ
funny.
in.
It was so fun. It was so funny. I can't. I was sitting there alone. I was wishing I was with someone. Like, I can't believe this. Well, you know how you see something, you're like, I wish I could share this with someone.
Smart
That's why I need a
phones.
girlfriend.
I do. I desperately need a girlfriend.
All right, back to Lauren's question.
Okay.
Balmy.
The comedy climate, I would say, people are fairly receptive to it, as far as we go. But it's always, we've been doing it for 3 years at one location, and it's kind of taken us about 2.5 years to kind of establish that we're there. And we have a Facebook, and we put it out on Facebook. We put it out on, I think everybody puts it on their own individual Facebooks, and we really try. Last year we had postcards that we handed out to people. We had business cards we hand out to everybody we can. So it's coming around, and I hope it gains momentum, because I think it's one thing, and I don't want to sound full of myself, I am proud of the group, and I think we do something very unique for the area. Because there have been other improv groups in the area, but none around as long as we've been. The one year we were voted best comedy act for the Electric City. So people are so people are coming to the shows and actually responding to the shows, and it's been a really, really good time. And we just recently have started. In March, we're going to start doing a second show, which will be at the old Brick Theater. So we're hoping to maybe gain an audience. We do a show downtown, maybe get that North Scranton audience, that sweet Samarios eating audience. How many cheesesteaks do you have at this show? That's what I want to be saying. I don't know why, but I don't know. I don't know if anyone else.
I think what you mentioned before, a lot of people don't realize that it takes time to build these kinds of things, that you have to build an audience and that you have to keep doing it, and you have to you have to search people out. You practically have to grab them by the collar and drag them in sometimes, and then they end up enjoying it.
Right.
But it's just getting people there is such a struggle. I mean, we've had that same thing where some of the open mics, it's packed. Like, there's too many performers and there's too many people, and it's crazy. And then other nights it's like there's like 10 people here total,
right.
And there's no way to plan for it. You don't know whether it's happening or not. Like, it's crazy. And just trying to get people to come out and try something new too, that's tough. And what you guys, like you said, you're doing something unique. So are people like, well, what is it? Or do they're not really sure about it?
Well, that was weird.
Jesus Christ, it was like a game of like pass the dick. It was like
It was the first time Rob didn't want to talk. Everybody, when you first tell them improv comedy, I'd say about 85% of people don't even know what you're talking about. A lot of people think it's stand-up comedy. I've had people, when I've invited them to shows, we probably all have, they're like, well, I'd go, but I don't want to be made fun of. And I'm like, we don't make fun of, and we're making funny on this podcast. We don't make funny. We don't make funny at the show. But like, it's just people unsure of going. And I would say anybody listening to the podcast, come out and try a show, because we've had several people who come out just to see what it's about and literally come every month now, because it is a completely different show every time. It's made up off the top of our heads. It's not, scripted in any way. And it is a unique experience at, every show we have. So, I do recommend it. Of course, I'm in it, so of course I recommend it. But
how do you keep it fresh though every time? How do you end up? Because I'm sure you probably this character really worked before, so you're tempted to do it again or something like that, or maybe this particular skit worked really well for us. How do you continue to like challenge yourself?
Well, we mix it up by doing like new games every time, so there's always something a little bit different, so that if somebody's come to a show before and they come again, they may not see the same set list they've seen the first time. So
right, new games. We started out with like 18 members, and we just kill the audience. The audience votes on who we get to kill at the end of every show.
Right.
And with the long form,
Nice.
that's really like open. The long form, if anyone's not familiar with it, what it is basically. Whereas with the short form, it'll be like a game, for example, like the ABC game, where you could like one person you'll get a suggestion of, okay, we're brothers, we're your location, whatever, and then it'll be like for example, for the ABC game, there'll be certain rules in a short form game. ABC game will be like, for one person, or if we start with the letter A, one person has to say their line has to begin with A, then the next person's line has to begin with B, next with C. So the games like they're shorter and they have like a rule, defined set of rules. With long form, it's much more open, so you can be fresher, I think, and stuff with that. Where long form, we'll get a single suggestion and we'll say, can we have a word from the audience? And then they'll give us a word, and either one of us, or lately we've been having guests come in to do this. We'll do a monologue about the word, like a personal story or anecdote based on that word. Then from there, from that monologue, we'll pull different things to inspire scenes. So, and it's very loose, the structure and everything. It'll be a bunch of interconnected of scenes that hopefully interconnect. And it usually could run anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, that whole piece. So there's a lot more freedom within that. You're not bound to the same thing. It could be a lot different in that, within that structure. So that gives you a lot of freedom, a lot of room to try different things and things like that.
And we are in conjunction with all that, we are starting to kind of develop sketches that we're gonna do. So if we really do like a character, or we feel like it could have gone somewhere else and maybe it'd be funny, we're starting to write some sketches. We're starting to get those together, and we're gonna.
I know somebody that can film that, right?
Really? I'm not gonna ask who.
He's wearing this.
I know.
Okay.
I figured. Does he have a pig room?
Not yet.
Not interested.
Well, no, I wanted to kind of expound upon that, because there's 6 of you, right?
There are 6 of us, yeah.
So, I mean, in a weird way, it's like comedy jazz, because you got to play off of each other, and you have to almost instinctually know like who's going to do what next, or you know what I mean?
Right.
That's
Absolutely, yeah.
That's actually one of the benefits we had when we kind of first started, is a lot of us just became fast friends. So outside of even getting the improv training, we'd hang out. We'd go out afterwards.
Your show never ends.
Get dinner. Yeah.
That really helps with chemistry and with knowing you're the person you're on stage with. You kind of develop that. It's on instinctually. Right. That helps a lot. Yeah.
And it's not so much knowing where someone's going to go, because honestly, the best scenes I feel, or if I'm in a scene with Rob and I don't know what he's going to say, my reaction is almost, going
to be better.
The better part of it. So the hardest thing to do with improv, and I know it's going to sound easy, but the hardest thing to do is really just listen to what he's saying.
Yeah, that's like that's what you're taught is probably the most important thing. Just listen and react to it. And I mean, there are other principles and stuff but listening is one of, if not the most important thing with it, and just listen and react. Right. You don't want to pre-plan what you're going to say. You don't want to, if you have an idea in your head of where a scene's going to go, you have to be able to drop that, because someone might say something and that would makes that impossible, and you just have to be able to drop that and just react to what they say in the moment. And that's part of the fun of it, I think, too. And it helps you with acting too. I think, like I did theater, and I still do plays every now and then, but I've did that for years, even before I started improv, and it definitely, improv definitely is a good way. I feel is a good way to train as an actor because it helps you to get into the moment where you're not overthinking stuff, and it really helps you to just be there, be more present. So it's a good training tool for actors. So even if you're not going to do perform improv per se, it's good for that. And Chris used to always say it's really a writer's art because it helps you with structure too. So even if you're just looking to be an actor or a writer, improv's definitely a good thing to get into, even if you don't want to perform it consistently, because it could help with those other two things as well.
Now, are you all, even though that you guys are friends and you hang out and everything, do you still really surprise each other every time that you're doing one of these skits?
I feel like even when we're just hanging out, I feel we kind of surprise each other. Like I genuinely, there are only probably a handful of people in life who could honestly make me laugh, and I think a lot of times I laugh because it's surprising what someone says, or it's goofy. And I mean these guys are.
It's us and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
He was awesome in Airplane. He was also awesome on the Lakers. I don't know. But I think that's kind of what leads to laughter is a surprising, a surprising result. I think that's why I when I hang out with these guys, and I'm sure everyone feels the same way. We laugh constantly. We're always making each other laugh. And
is it hard not to crack up then when you're in the middle of performing?
Sometimes.
Is there one of you that's just like, I'm going to try to make everybody laugh as hard as I can tonight? Like, is it like, and I don't mean like in a like, haha, got you way, but more like that'll be more fun. Like, this probably is an awful example, but when you see something like SNL and then somebody like loses it,
right?
To me, that's funnier than the skit,
right? I think there's
that's not the goal, but
I think there's a general consensus almost of like, it's when I was growing up. This is a roundabout story.
Oh, here we go. We'll be here for another 3 hours.
When I was growing up, when I was a boy.
Destroyed by Pat.
I once had Notre Dame boxers.
And Rob came all over them. Shit.
No, Rob, the character.
I had a character. Bob did.
A character called Bob, not associated with Rob at all.
Yeah.
But when the goal in my house was always to make my dad laugh. If you can make my dad laugh, that was like, you said something funny. And a lot of that I think spills over into this, where it's, if you can make one of us laugh on stage, I think you feel like you did something that was really good. A lot of times when I'm not in scenes and I'm watching the scenes, I'll laugh. I give a lot of credit to Rob.
I'm just imagining you.
Rob
like,
makes me laugh.
Just like
every show, Rob makes me laugh.
I ran out of Thermosil conditioner. It's really warm. It's amazing. I've heard. The character Rob told me that.
I use mane and tail. I do. As you can tell by my luxurious locks.
I think you guys were talking about.
All right, back to when you're not in the scene and you're.
No, everybody makes me. I mean, we were just outside here and we were laughing about different stuff. So everybody in this group makes me laugh. I would hope everyone would say the same thing about everyone else in the group.
But I think it's like we all bring something different to the table. That's a great thing about it. So because we've worked with each other for such a long time, we picked up on it. So it really works out in the long run.
Right. I do a lot of Hitler impressions. I bring that to the table.
Just very quiet and angry.
Oh, okay. I'm not even angry.
Did you ever notice like even the most poetic thing said in German sounds awful?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
9.
Yeah. Like no matter how you say it, like in French you could be like, go ahead and go fuck yourself, and it's just like, oh, that's so beautiful. And then in Germany it's like when you speak and you listen to, I always thought that where I'm like, remember how they do like Hitler gets pissed off at like whatever and they change the subtitles for and I'm like, he could totally be talking about chocolate chip cookies and it just sounds really angry no matter what you do.
Chances are, I'm not a history buff, but chances are Hitler was not talking about chocolate chip cookies.
I bet you once or twice he has
probably
been
confusing it because
he's like, look, I want the chocolate chip cookies.
Talked a lot
There
about
now.
ovens.
He's probably
Not so much about chocolate.
Too soon,
talking
man.
about brisket.
Brisket.